Okay, for this project I'm using this natural polished hemp. There's 220 feet in a roll, and you're going to need full of 3 and then part of a 4th one to make it the size that I made it. And I got this at Walmart. If you can't find this though, you can use something, any kind of twine or jute, something like that would work. And then you'll be able to, you could plant a plant directly in it, because you'll be able to water it and it won't hurt it to get wet or anything. So, or you could always line it and keep the plant in your house. But if you wanted it to be like an outside hanger, that's what I'm going to do with mine. It's okay to plant directly in it because it's not going to hurt this to get wet. It's not going to ruin it. Oh, and I'm using a size K. It's a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. And it's going to be really easy. Just want to start with the slip knot. It's the same as regular crochet. It's this. And so what I'm going to do is kind of make a big pouch. So I'm going to start with a chain. Now the stitches are going to be easy. It's going to be single crochet, but it is a little bit of work on your hands. But okay. You want to start with a chain of 30. And now that I think about it, I suppose you can make this too with regular yarn as long as you line it before you put a plant in it. So, because regular yarn is, if you get it wet, and it's not going to work very good. I would recommend like a cotton, something a lot sturdier than acrylic would be kind of, if you used acrylic, I think it would stretch out way too much once you got heavy dirt in it. So if you did use yarn, I would recommend cotton, and make sure that you would line it so it's not getting wet and stuff. Or you could probably put a pot directly into it. But once you get your chain to 30, it's going to be real easy. You want to single crochet in the 2nd stitch from the hook, like that. And then 1 single crochet in every stitch across for the entire length of the chain. One single in every stitch until you get to the end. Okay, when you make it to the end, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 single crochets in this last stitch. Like that. Tighten that tail up there. And now I'm just going to turn it, and I'm going to start working on the opposite side of the chain. So I'm just going to go to the next stitch and single crochet, and I'm going to single crochet across. I'm going to hide that tail as I go. 1 single crochet again in every stitch, and I'm just working on the bottom side of the chain now. Basically all this is going to be is just rounds of single crochet, and I'm going to leave an opening in it later and put a handle on it, but so it's going to be pretty easy. The hardest part, the toughest part is working with this stuff. Kind of makes your hands hurt after a little while, but I think it's worth it. It sure is pretty when it's done with a plant in it. I can't wait to finish mine. So just go ahead and go and finish 1 single crochet until you get to the end. Okay, when you make it to this end, I'm going to put 2 single crochets in the last stitch on this end also. To match the other side. Like that. Now, from here on out, it's just going to be rounds of single crochet. So if you want to get a stitch marker and put it here so you remember where you start and where you finish, like right there. Now I'm just going to jump right over here to the first single crochet and single crochet in it. And now I'm going to go across, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch, and I'm all the way around now. Just 1 in every stitch, all the way around until I get back to my stitch marker. And then when I get back to my stitch marker, I'm just going to move it up, and I'm going to go around again. So from now on, it's continual rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch. And you'll notice it's going to be kind of twisty for a while, but the more rounds you do, the more it'll start to stand up, kind of like a little sack. And that's what we want. So don't get discouraged if it's looking funny for a while. It'll take a few rows to kind of take effect, and then you'll be able to see it. So I'm just going to keep going around like that, all the way around, back to my stitch marker. Then I'm going to move my stitch marker up and go around again. 1 single crochet in every stitch, all the way around, back to the stitch marker, move it up, 1 single crochet in every stitch around, and I'm going to keep doing that for several rows, and I'll let you know how many rows I do here in just a second. Okay, I went ahead and done a total of 30 rows, and I'm back to where my stitch marker is, up here at the top. Now I'm gonna need 2 more stitch markers so I can mark off. Let me move my camera up here. I'm gonna mark off a place at the opening for the plant. So what you want to do is pick up your end and count from the center stitch, count over 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and put a stitch marker. And then you want to do the same thing over here. From your stitch marker, count over 4 stitches, put a stitch marker. Okay? Now let's count the stitches in between the stitch markers. Not counting the stitch that has a stitch marker, we'll count all the other ones. I have 21. Now you may not have that. Probably don't have that. Or you could have that. I don't know. It does not matter. Just however many stitches you have, you got to remember that number. So now what we're going to do is just pick up where we left off. I'll turn this over a little bit here. Pick up where we left off and continue to single crochet around until you get to that first stitch marker. And go ahead and single crochet in that stitch with the stitch marker. And then you can remove it. And now I'm going to do a chain of 21, because that's how many stitches I have from here to here. And you do a chain for however many stitches you have. So I'm going to go ahead and do that chain. Okay, I did my chain of 21. Now you just do your chain for however many stitches you had. Now I'm going to pull it over, skip all these stitches, and I'm going to go ahead and single crochet into the spot where my next stitch marker is. Like that. And then you can remove that stitch marker. Now I'm going to continue around, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around until I get back to my initial stitch marker, the one that we're using to keep the round, which mine might have came out, but I know that it's over here somewhere, so I'll restart it again. So go ahead and do 1 single crochet all the way around this back and back to where your initial stitch marker is. Okay, once you make it back around your stitch marker again, you just move it up and then keep going around. 1 single crochet in every stitch. We're just going to be doing rounds of single crochet again, just like we did before. When we get to the chain, we're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch of the chain. So right here's my, and you just put 1 single crochet in every stitch of the chain. Just like this. And now it's just going to be rounds of single crochet again for a few rounds till I get it a little bit taller. So once you get 1 single crochet in every stitch of your chain, you just continue around putting 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way back around to your stitch marker. Move your stitch marker up again and just continue around. 1 single crochet in every stitch again up this side all the way down, and keep going around and around for a few more rows. I'm not quite sure how many rows I'm going to do, so I'm going to get started. All we did here was just left this opening here, so we're just going to continue doing single crochets all the way around. Okay, I went ahead and did 6 more rows right here. So you can see that's going to be where the plant's going to go. So I'm going to make a handle for the top, and at the end I'm going to sew this top up. So it'll be kind of like a pouch with the handle. But before I sew it up, I'm going to put the handles on it. I haven't clipped my yarn or anything. I'm just stopped where my stitch marker was. And I want to I'm just going to put, like in the corner here, I'm going to pick out 6 stitches. So like from the corner, 1, 2, 3, and you can put a stitch marker. And then from the other way, 1, 2, 3, and put a stitch marker. So you have a total of 6 stitches around the corner. And you want to do the same thing to the other side around this corner. So pick the middle stitch and you go 1, 2, 3, put a stitch marker, go back, 1, 2, 3, put a stitch marker. So you have 6 stitches, and that's what's gonna be our handles. So once you get it marked off here, actually put mine over one more. Okay, what you want to do is go ahead and from your first stitch marker to your next stitch marker, go ahead and single crochet those 6 stitches. And make sure you go into the one with the stitch marker like that. So there's 6 stitches. Now what I'm going to do is count back again. That way when I get back around to the other side, because I pulled my stitch marker out and I shouldn't have. If yours is still there, that's fine, but I pulled it out too soon because I need that for when I get back around to the other side. Okay, there's my 6 stitches. Now what I'm going to do is make a long chain to cover this number of stitches until I get over here to my stitch marker, to my first stitch marker. So yours might be different than mine, but you got your 6 marked off over here. You want to count to your first one. 1, 2, I got 22. Yours might be different, yours might be the same, but whatever it is, that's how many chains you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and chain my 22. Okay, I went ahead and chained my 22. So now I'm just going to stretch it over to my first stitch marker and single crochet into the spot that has the stitch marker, the first one. Now I can pull it out. Like that. And now I'm going to do one single crochet in every stitch till I get to my other stitch marker here. So it should be our 6 stitches. And make sure you go into the one that has the stitch marker, and then you can remove it like that. Now when you count from here to your next stitch marker, it should be close to the same number. If it's not, don't worry about it. I'm actually not even going to count. I'm just going to do a chain at 22 because I know it's probably pretty close. So you just do whatever this chain was for you. I'm just going to stretch it over to my next stitch marker and single crochet in that spot with the stitch marker. Give me some trouble, so like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around again and one single crochet in these, and then a single crochet in the handles on both sides, kind of just like we did before. So this bag's so big it's hard to get a good angle at it. Okay, so just like this, one single crochet in each of these 6 stitches on the corner. This stuff is really hard to work with. And then one single crochet for every stitch of the chains that we made. And we're just going to do this all the way around. Do it to both chains until we get back to our starting point. Just like this. So every stitch of the chain, and then every stitch of this chain until we get back to here. Okay, when I make it back around here, the stitch right after the last handle, I want to slip stitch into it. And then clip my yarn, and make sure you clip a long tail of this stuff so you can weave it in. Okay, I clipped a long tail, and when you weave it in, put a little knot in it. Just kind of, you can weave it in on the underside, just with your needle. Might even need to use a little bit smaller one, but just go under some stitches and grab it and pull it. It's kind of like you would weave yarn, just a little bit tougher. But just weave it a few times too. You feel like it's not going to come undone. Like that. Probably finish weaving that in a minute, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this together, and I'm going to sew the handles together too, on top and on bottom. Okay, Okay, first thing I'll start with is slip stitching this top together. So you remember how we had 6 on the ends, we just want to line them up 3 and 3 and go into both of them and pull through, leave a long tail, or you can weave the tail in as you go. I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to go through and slip stitch just like we would slip stitch anything together. It's just a little bit harder with this yarn or this stuff. And I'm going to stitch or slip stitch every stitch of the handle at the top here. I'm going to go across the whole top of the handle. Make sure your handles don't twist while you're slip stitching them together. I will make my handles bigger. I'm just going to do that on the end when I sew up the inside. But for now, I'm just going to do this across the top. So I'm going to go all the way to the other side, slip stitching this handle together, just at the top. Okay, once you make it to the end of that top, you can see it slip stitched together. Just cut your yarn long, tie it, put the little knot there, and then you'll have to hide that tail, weave it in. I'll do mine later. Now what I'm going to do is do some single crochet to sew this part together and the bottoms of the handles together. I want to use single crochet because I want to do a couple rows of it to make it a little bit thicker. So, you probably start anywhere you want. Start with the good side facing you. See my opening for my plant. And start in, I'm just going to start in this corner of this stitch and the opposite back here in the opposite corner. And, now, I never said this would be easy. Easy stitches, it's not very easy to work with though. But, sure it's cool when it's done. I think it's going to be cool. Okay, start with chain 1. Now let's go across and single crochet these 2 pieces together. So, go into the next stitch, and then the next stitch in the back piece. And single crochet. And then the next stitch in the back. Probably can't see that well. Single crochet. That. And now that's sewing the top up. And I want to single crochet this entire top piece together and up and around these handles. I went across this whole top here, so the whole top is sewed together. Now I'm going to work my way around and do the bottoms of the handles. So I'm just going to kind of put some single crochets just up this side here and then back around the bottom of the handles. It's kind of difficult with this stuff. Sorry, it's hard to film it too at a good angle, but kind of like that. I gotta move my camera, sorry. And you can kind of see what I'm doing, I think. Just grabbing stitches from both sides and single crocheting like that. Now I'm up to the handles, and I can just grab a stitch on the handle and a stitch on the handle and the back handle. It's already sewed together at the top, so it's just kind of these stitches there and on the other side. And that's what I'm crocheting together, like this. Oh, somebody wants me. So I'm just going to keep going across, crocheting this bottom part of the handle together. Okay, I made it all the way around. Got this sewed up. The undersides of my handle sewed up. I'm going to do one more row, and I think that's going to be it for me. I made it back to my first single crochet here. I'm just going to single crochet back in it. I'm going to go around what I just did with one more row of single crochet. I don't think my hands can take much more than this, so I'm just going to do this all the way across the top here where we sewed up and around and across the bottom side of the handle, and then back to the beginning. Okay, after that row, you want to end by slip stitching in your first single crochet, pulling a long tail and clipping it, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to hide the rest of my tails, and then I should be done. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. You got your handle here. You got your sack for a plant, or you don't even have to put a plant in it. If you want to put something else in it, it's completely up to you. I hope you enjoy my tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Please don't forget to chat me out on Facebook too. I'll put a link below to that in the description box.